Hi, I'm Jason Ma. Welcome to 3EQ. My personal passion is my business mission, and that is to mentor young leaders, help them become the best that they can be as human beings, as students if they are students, and as applicants to anything competitive such as colleges, universities, graduate schools, internships, or jobs. I take great pleasure in helping them transform to become the best that they can be, and this is what some of my students have to say.
Mr. Ma, the most important thing that he's been helpful with me is the fact that he emphasizes EQ, not just IQ, and that he obviously wants the smartest for his students, and he wants his students to be as smart as possible, but he also emphasizes the fact that you have to be personable, and you have to be, and that's what gets you farthest in life, and that kind of life lesson you take on beyond your college years, and not just getting into the best college you can, which is super important, but after college, you have a whole life ahead of you, and that's what is benefiting me the most to this day.
He's just a good guy. It's not, I mean, good is an understatement. He's a great guy. He's a people person. He's not just, he knows how to talk to people, and that's something that you're really missing in this whole, like, get into college, like this whole race that it is. You need somebody that can actually be a person to you. And he is that. He is the person. He's your friend. He's your friend. He's your friend that guides you through the college app process and into your future. And there's nothing more that you can ask for in this whole stress that is getting into college.
Mr. Ma just has been so incredibly helpful for me because he's just able to provide such an insightful and sort of advice that's just so on point that really caters to my personal strengths and my personal interests, and kind of really does complement sort of my activities that I've been involved with, or sort of my passions. And probably one of the most memorable visits that I've had with Mr. Ma is actually when I was able to just sit down with him, and he was kind of able to hit the nail on the head, in the sense that he was able to articulate what my passion truly is and what my goal for the future is, and that is to be a CEO of some sort, or be a leader in a key industry, sort of driven by a passion of mine, whatever that may be in the future even. And that was sort of a very valuable discussion between me and Mr. Ma, because he was able to articulate my strengths and my passions in a way that I was maybe struggling, in a sense, to do so.
I came into Rice University as a pre-med. I loved the place, I loved the environment, I learned a lot, but something just felt like I needed to do something differently, and I really wanted to engage in entrepreneurship and business. And I've always talked to Mr. Ma, and even though he knew I was never a engineer or entrepreneur in the beginning, but he taught me these leadership skills. And what really helped me was that when I was able to write that application to UPenn, which I got accepted to later, I was able to show my conviction to whoever was reading it. And that's where I was able to put in my passion, and those attributes that I learned in the past always came in handy even now.
Michael Jordan, of course, had a coach at some point in his life. And that's what Mr. Ma has been all these years to me. He's been a coach, not only for college applications, but for life, for professional advice, for business etiquette, for being a better person in life in general.
I think Mr. Ma has been really helpful with a lot of encouragement. He just kind of provides a lot of support, both for kind of letting you know that it's going to be okay, that you're going to get through the college process, and also with a lot of advice. He has so much wisdom at his disposal, and he has a lot of resources to kind of help counsel you through whatever questions you have or whatever concerns you have. He talks you through the step-by-step, so you kind of understand how to address the source of your concerns.
I remember going over some of my first essays with Mr. Ma, and he really focused on the high-level directions of my essays, and he suggests that I move towards this direction in my essay. And at first I was quite hesitant and wasn't sure about it, and then the more I thought about it, the more it seemed to make sense. And I think that was an example of how Mr. Ma's experience really comes into play, and from that point on I was much more trusting of his advice.
Yeah, so right after high school, I was looking for internship opportunities at different companies. One of the big ones I really wanted to get into was Google. So Mr. Ma introduced me to one of the senior vice presidents that was working at Google, got me into the internship system, and I was able to secure an internship for the summer in New York. And I spent a lot of time coding as a software engineer, and it was a lot of fun.
Was that when I was applying to one of my summer programs, LBW, the summer before my senior year, I remember going to his office on a Saturday, telling him how much I wanted to do the program. But I also had a huge issue with procrastination, so at that point I had not started my application that was due on Monday, and he was like, you go in, you get your computer from home, sit here and do it, and I ended up getting in the program, and I finished the application, and it was one of the best experiences of my life, and definitely shaped that experience, that camp definitely shaped what I wanted to do today. So, thank you, Mr. Ma.
It was nearing the deadline of the UC apps, and I was a little stressed out because everything was kind of disheveled, and I knew that I needed somebody to sort of like get me back out of like that procrastination mode and just sort of back in it. And instantly after just talking to him for maybe 5 minutes, I learned that he was not just some robot that was just going to push me to get all my college apps done. But he was somebody that wanted to get to know me, wanted to make sure that I was, like, he wanted to know the authentic me. He wanted to know the true me so that I could put that on the college apps. And it's not just that. It's not just that he wanted to bring out, like, my authentic self, but he wanted me to realize that there's more to the college experience than just physically getting into college. You want to think beyond college. You want to think to your future, and working with him really got me to discover that.
When I was Skyping with Mr. Ma, because we were in different states, but I was Skyping with him, and I just had so many questions about college, and I was like very nervous. I remember one Skype session, he kind of sat down and talked me through how the application process really worked, and like what was really required, and what the top schools are really looking for in terms of an applicant. And just like hearing him talk through it like really kind of calmed me down and helped me focus on what direction I wanted to move forward. Just because of the way he encourages you, he's very good at pushing your strengths and telling you that you're gonna do a lot of great things in the future. And the awesome thing is that he really truly believes in it, which helps you really find your own center, find your confidence, and believe in it yourself. So just through the belief he has in you, you know you're gonna achieve a lot of great things.
And he's a good assessor of what you like. And he wants to push you in the direction that you want to go into, but he also gives you the right pathway. Because opening up a right pathway is critical if you have a good mentor. And with a mentor, you can navigate through a really confusing process. And I feel like Mr. Ma is always direct with me, very clear, and never hesitant to tell me the 100% truth. And that's what you need.
I would say challenge yourself. So even if there's a course that maybe you think might interest you, but you're not sure because it might be more difficult than anything you've encountered, don't let that hold you back. Don't let grades hold you back. Don't let scary obstacles hold you back. Go for it. Just do it.
You need to be able to open up your mindset. Look at the different avenues that you want to enter. Because everything is, in regard, interconnected. And that's what really helps you become a person that cares about people, that can attend to the needs of others, and also draw people to you to listen to what you have to say, so you can be a positive contributor.
It's never too early to prepare. I know the process is very complicated, it's very deep, it's really hard to kind of get lost in the shuffle of college applications sometimes, and it's always good to have someone to talk to about where you kind of see yourself going, and kind of how you want to express yourself in your essays and your application. So it's good to prepare early and kind of find someone you can talk to about the application process, because it is very complicated.
Mr. Ma is different from other mentors because he's super trustworthy. I trust him, he's real, he's a family person, so I relate to him a lot, which makes the mentorship really easy, organic, and genuine.
I think what makes Mr. Ma different than other college counselors is that he really cares about you personally, and he personally wants you to succeed. So it's always great when I talk to him because he seems to understand me, and the advice that he gives is really on the mark and helpful for me.
Mr. Ma really tries to look inside what you've done and looks like what you like to do, and he kind of expands on that and then fits that into like a college or like any kind of future goal. So I think that's much more important than trying to like evolve you into someone else who goes to college, because I mean, what good is it if you're not the same person that you were before?
Well, I think Mr. Ma is very good with talking to students in the high school and college age range. He's very good with connecting with them, understanding them, so that they're willing to tell you everything that's going on in their lives. And because of that, Mr. Ma is able to actually try to figure out more things than what other people can do.
I would tell friends, families, and students that Mr. Ma really sort of is unique in what he does. I think he is wholeheartedly and willingly working with his clients and his students to kind of target what it is that they do best, maybe not follow a specific mold or a specific cookbook with instructions of 1, do this, 2, do this, 3, do this. He sort of is able to take his background and to take his experience and utilize his connections that he has to sort of really provide one-on-one individualized service and advice that you can't really find anywhere else.
I would say that you can't go wrong with him because literally he knows it so well. He knows exactly what he's doing with this whole experience. If you want someone to help you get into college, of course, he's going to be able to do that for you, no problem. That's just the beginning of it. But if you want somebody that'll be a mentor to you, help you figure out like who you are and what you want to be, and really discover the true leader inside of you, then you should just work with him because he knows exactly how to bring the leader out in anyone.
When I think about Mr. Ma, I think about EQ. Obviously we have IQ, but EQ is just as important, if not more, because we live in a world where we need to interact with others. Obviously we're in class learning and reading books, but what it comes down to in the real world is we need to take what we know and apply it to others. And Mr. Ma has really helped me become a good speaker, good communicator, try to put my thoughts in perspective and help others, and also be able to communicate with people in a meaningful way.
And he helped me sharpen these thoughts, helped me guide myself into going into a college. I feel like, especially for college essays, he helped me use my strengths and weaknesses and implement them into my essay in order to kind of just push myself into the college world. So I feel like if this is what you're looking for, or if this is what you want your kid to look for, then Mr. Ma is a perfect person for you.
I think Mr. Ma has a lot to offer students, especially. He's been working with students for a really long time, and it comes through in how he interacts with them, and it's really important. I think Mr. Ma is critical to the education system, especially with rising leaders. In the conversations that I've had with Mr. Ma, we've definitely touched on leadership and future goals and aspirations, and I definitely see that he has students' best interests at heart. And having someone like him around is incredibly critical to the student experience.
Mr. Ma has been a great coach to me these past years. He's been sincere, thoughtful, thorough, and concise in all the advice he gives me. In addition, he's building a relationship with me that I'll treasure my entire life so that I may be a better person and successful in everything I do.
Yeah, Mr. Ma is a great mentor in the position where he can tell you about a lot of the different ways that people have approached, getting a job to become a CEO, CTO, high senior VPs, and if you want to become one of those positions, then it's a good idea to know how other people have done it in the past, what they thought they were interested in, how they set goals. And I think working with Mr. Ma, you can figure out what those goals are for you and how you can, depending on wherever you are, whether a high school student or a college student, figure out what the next few steps you need are so that you can actually achieve.
Hi, thank you for watching. I hope that some of my students have provided some enlightenment or facilitation in your understanding in terms of why I do what I do. I invite you to browse the 3Q website, and if what I do happens to intersect with your mission and goals, please feel free to contact me, and we might have a brief chat. Thank you.